It's good to be skeptical. The more I know about blockchain myself, I understand that technology is just a tool. What we do with technology is really a human question, it's a governance question, and it's not a technological question. Technology only sets the boundaries of what is possible and what is not possible. I chose not to use slides today. I do regret that I didn't use that one slide that shows that what Bitcoin really is, and we were having the discussion before. Because you said, oh, Bitcoin is just a currency, it's an object of speculation, and blockchain is something else. Unfortunately, that is a narrative that is driven by the media, and it is wrong. Bitcoin as a token is also an object of speculation. That is correct. But the reason Bitcoin as a token that exists is that the initial Satoshi white paper wanted to have a peer-to-peer electronic payment system without intermediaries. And the way to incentivize collective collaboration to achieve this public infrastructure called the Bitcoin payment network is to incentivize the network actors with a native token called Bitcoin. So how do we make sure that in a public network of actors, where these network actors who don't know each other, who don't necessarily trust each other, who live in different countries, who speak different languages, that they stick to the rules of how to correctly validate transactions, payment transactions over the internet peer-to-peer. And the biggest game changer of Bitcoin was to come up with a kind of combining cryptography with game theory and finding a game that is unfortunately very computationally intense, which means resource intense when it comes to energy, but finding a game that allows us to make sure that we can have collaboration among untrusted actors, to have peer-to-peer money without banks, to have a global governance technology for peer-to-peer money. It is voluntary, it is opt-in, and it's incentivized by the token. So if you ask me what is blockchain or what is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is first and foremost a governance machine. The governance rules are in the code, which are automatically enforced when the predefined conditions of what is allowed is met. And in order to make sure that people stick to the rules, network actors are incentivized with money. It's computationally hard. It's possible, but hard to cheat the network. It's not only hard, it's like kind of unfeasibly expensive. And it accounts for the most out there attack systems. Now, it is true, Bitcoin, while it is an governance technology, and people who came after, I think deliberately, because Bitcoin was in the media, had a very bad reputation, they took the technology, the blockchain technology, and they said that's blockchain and it's not Bitcoin because Bitcoin has a bad reputation, and we'll just call it blockchain now because it's a governance technology and we can use it. And I think that's also one of the reasons that we have a lot of public organizations here, international organizations here, representatives from the World Bank, representatives from the UNIDO, and from local governance institutions, from ministries in Austria. The blockchain technology is a governance technology. It allows us global cooperation based on collaboration based on one unique set of data that everyone can inspect. So basically, what is blockchain as a game changer for those who have not read up on blockchain? There are three main aspects. It is the backend kind of it's the driving force of the next generation internet because it changes how we store and manage data in the backend of the web. If you think of the web 2 as a front-end revolution, blockchain is a backend revolution. It changes how we store and manage data collectively, incentivized by a token. The protocol itself is a governance machine. Like it allows global governance across jurisdictions, across organizations. It's especially useful to have transparency along the supply chains of goods and services and financial services. And we will hear a lot about those use cases in the second track. So it changes the back end of the internet, we have more transparency about what happens with our data. We have more transparency along the supply chain. We have a governance tool that especially international organizations can use, or across industries or across the supply chain. And one of the other killer applications or main applications of blockchain are tokens. And this is why we chose as one of our tracks what I call purpose-driven token. And I called that intuitively. Since a year and a half, I've been running around saying purpose-driven token, and people are like, that sounds good, but what is it exactly? And I'm currently writing a book, and actually, I finished the last chapter, and it was on purpose-driven token. And then I had to come up with the definition. And I realized that I don't have to invent things, because economics has already described these things. We have private goods and public goods. And what Bitcoin showed us, and many of the tokens that incentivize activities inspired by Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is a purpose-driven token. The purpose being peer-to-peer money without banks in a global network. And if you bring an action that contributes to the truthfulness of the network and to the security of the network, you're incentivized with a token. And we have seen many initiatives build on that idea of incentivizing individuals with a token for a public good. In the case of Bitcoin, the public good is a peer-to-peer payment network that is permissionless, that anyone can use. That's a public good. And in the case of the CO2 tokens, we will see this afternoon, it's incentivizing people to reduce externalities of public goods. Because if we look at the world today, we have two types of public goods. The public goods that the government provides, but it's centralized governments providing these public goods. Bitcoin has showed us that through collaborative actions, powered by crypto economics, we can incentivize people to contribute to a public good in a distributed way over the globe. And the CO2 tokens show another type of public good, are natural resources. Unfortunately, we deplete them very often because they're very often scarce from a certain tipping point on, as you explained. And these tokens can help us reduce the externalities that our current economic system is incurring on them. And I hope that with these words, you got a glimpse into why blockchain is a game changer. There's much more to tell, but I hope that the 4 tracks today will speak for themselves, and you can take a few interesting takeaways, and you will keep following us on what we're researching on this topic. Thank you very much.